All right, a very good morning, everybody. We have a winter storm warning in effect. That's going to run from 5 p.m. this evening all the way through 11 a.m. Sunday morning for Fairfield County. I like the timing on the Litchfield County warning a little bit better. They're talking about a 7 p.m. start. I think that's more accurate. Everyone, I have to put the 5 p.m. on the graphic because that is what the NWS issued for Danbury. But I mean, I really don't think the snow is going to start until about 7, 8, probably even 8:30. Somewhere in that window, we'll start to see snow, and then things really go downhill after 9 p.m. So I'll show you what I mean here. We'll time it all out quickly on the latest HRRR plan for this video. We'll go through this storm in a little bit of detail, and then we will look at the rest of the week coming up as there's a lot of players involved. Obviously, a lot of winter storms to track here over the next week. So what we're looking at right now is this storm system trying to get its act together over the Ohio Valley. This it reminds me a lot of the storm system we saw a couple days ago on Thursday, where it's kind of coming together as it's approaching our area, right? So it doesn't look super impressive yet. It's not going to look great on radar, but it's trying its best here to to work in. So what we're seeing is we'll see snow break out, and again, this let me rewind here to when it's first coming in. So this is 8, 9, 10. So by after 9, before 10, that's when roads really start to go downhill. Then this is 11 p.m. and we're getting into some really heavy snow rates. So we should see those heavy snow rates in the front end of the system. That's going to be the main accumulating snow. Now, some of the models, I'll zoom in here so you can see better. Some of the models really do have good snow rates with this. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So if we're looking at, the whole area covered here in heavy snow rates, if we transition to snow per hour, we'll see this. This is going to pick up. I mean, we're talking about rates 1 to 2 inches per hour here into Fairfield County, into Litchfield County, New Haven County. So this is really, really heavy snow. It's the stuff that if you're not comfortable driving in the snow, right, you don't want to be out there in inch plus per hour rates. That's when roads go downhill quick. So again, 11 p.m., we're seeing really, really heavy snow rates. I think a lot of people are going to say, Jack, you forecast 3 to 6 inches, but it's snowing like a blizzard out here. Like, what are you talking about? This is going to be 8, 10, 12-inch storm. The problem is that this burst of snow is relatively short-lived. So I don't really see this continuing much after midnight. Now, this is the extent this model goes out. I'll load an older run to kind of just give you an idea. But again, get those really heavy snow rates here. I mean, this even has 2 inches per hour in New York City Metro. But as we head through and past midnight, you'll see all of a sudden snow kind of tapers off, right? I mean, we're still getting a 0.8 inches per hour here, and then there's no snow at all after about 2 a.m. So it's like, how much snow can we generate between 9 p.m. and like midnight 1 a.m.? That's going to be the question here. That's why my totals are so low. You're going to have to average a really, really high amount to get 6 inches of snow in 4 hours, right? It's got to be coming down like crazy. So, that's where we start talking about the transition to sleet, right? The transition of freezing rain. So let me load back up the precipitation so we can see here. And again, you'll see that it's that dreaded sleet line in the pink. And it wants to come north. Like we're talking about, some people were saying, oh, it's not gonna mix in northern Connecticut. I've kept mixed in northern Connecticut just because I think this upper level layer of air is relatively mild, right? So not necessarily above freezing, but it's mild and it's dry. And what happens is when you have a dry layer aloft is you can't create those nice snowflakes. You really need -8 C, so -8 Celsius, right? So it's 20 degrees Fahrenheit to really start creating good snowflakes. We're not going to see that here after midnight. So we're not going to see that after midnight 1 a.m. So this is 1 a.m. here. We start getting sleet into Danbury on this model. Is this a little aggressive? I mean, maybe, but either way you slice it, a lot of models have some sort of wintry mix coming in after midnight. So 1, 2 in the morning. And even if it does stay snow in some of these colder climate locations here in Litchfield County, I'm afraid it's just not going to accumulate readily. You're going to see a lot of, we'll call it inefficient snowflake growth. We get columns and rods instead of those nice fancy dendrites. Again, like kind of complicated weather stuff, but the flake size kind of determines how readily it can accumulate. If you're not getting good flakes, we're not going to accumulate snow very well, right? So as we fast forward through time, I mean, this model it's pretty aggressively warm, and this is one of my favorites. I use this a lot. This has sleet into, I mean, all the way up into like New Hampshire. Is that going to happen? I think that's a little questionable. But as far as Connecticut, I think wintry mix here is a good bet. So this has sleet and inefficient snowflakes mix all the way into northern Connecticut, freezing rain here in Danbury and Waterbury, and this even has plain drizzle along the shoreline. Now, as the low passes, things cool down. The column itself cools, so we do flip back to snow eventually as we come in. This is 8 a.m. Sunday morning now. So 8 a.m. Sunday morning, we're back to kind of a colder profile. The surface temperature is probably 30 to 32 at this point. Not super cold, but you're a flip back to some flurries to end the storm most likely here in Danbury. So, again, how much can we pick up in that first 4-hour window is really what I'm looking at. And then if I was forecasting 8 or 10 inches of snow, I'd be sweating this one hard, right? Like I'm glad I stuck to the guns. We kept it 3 to 6 inches for the last 3 days. It doesn't matter what other meteorologists say on Twitter to me, right? But if you read those, but I mean, I really think it's going to mix. I do. I hope I'm wrong. I think it's going to mix. So, that's what we're seeing here. Freezing drizzle for like 4, 5, 6 hours is going to glaze things up. I think this is going to be a rough Sunday morning commute for everybody. If you're waking up at 6, 7, 8 o'clock Sunday, you want to go to church, you want to go out, do whatever, run errands. It's a no-go for me. I think we're going to get that 3 to 6 inches of snow with this layer of glaze, layer of ice on top. It's going to be nasty. And I just wouldn't advise travel probably until the sun comes up. If the storm is over, sun comes out at 9, the roads will improve really quickly. We'll get treatment on them. DOT will be out there, right? It'll be better probably after 9 a.m. I think to be safe, I'd be looking, if I was planning something, right, and I didn't like driving the snow, 10, 11, noon, right? Afternoon, I think Sunday you're fine. Temperature should be 35, 36 degrees, sunshine. But the other important note, right, and I said this in the graphic, but you really got to clean this up. So it's going to be kind of a sloppy 3 to 6 inches, right? But you got to clean that up tomorrow, or else it's going to freeze solid Sunday night, and you'll just be left with an absolute glacier on Monday morning. So, it's not the greatest storm here to forecast, not the greatest storm to track. I mean, this is really impressive snow rates at 11 p.m. I think people will be going to bed tonight thinking that they're going to get a foot of snow. It's going to be coming down absolutely crazy. We're going to be making flakes, like nobody's business. But again, as the night wears on, let me show you another model too, just so you know I'm not just looking at one. This is the NAM, and what I want to call out here is this is not handling some of the upper level dynamics as well. And getting a little technical, but I'll tell you why. So again, same general idea. Snow starts around 8, 9 p.m. This is 9, it looks like. Gets really heavy at 11 p.m. And that's where we're talking about, hey, the 1 to 2 inch per hour rates, it's going to be ripping snow like crazy. After midnight is when we start to see that sleet line move into Western Connecticut. This was a little bit less aggressive on the sleet line, right? But I don't think it's handling some of this dry air super well. So what you're going to see in the next couple of frames is you see all this like spotted nature of the moisture or the precipitation shield. I think it's having trouble resolving that dry air up aloft. And so I don't think it's picking up on that inefficient snowflake growth, or the fact that the storm itself is really going to have trouble making snow at all, right? After 1 a.m., 2 a.m. So even so, it still mixes with freezing rain in this model, all the way up into and above the I-84 corridor here. Again, I think most places at this point are going to be into some freezing drizzle, and freezing drizzle at 3 a.m. is just no fun. So if you're a plow guy and you're out there and you're going to yell at me because it's going to be a tough night. And then again, this does have the flip back to some snow everywhere, some flurries by Sunday morning. But by then, the damage is done. We're going to be 28, 29, 30 degrees Sunday morning. It's going to be a layer of snow, layer of ice, a little bit of flurries on top. Uh, it's just a mess of a storm. I don't know how to better articulate it. Um, just an absolute mess of a storm. So with that, I will I will go and show you the extended forecast here because a lot of questions. Obviously, we have storms, in the near future here. So let me zoom out here. We'll get you a better view. So European model, again, this is the storm that comes in tonight. It's doing the same thing as the short range model. So when people say this is going to be an all snow event, I don't see it. I mean, my best models, right? 24 hours before a storm, generally. European model, NAM, the short range NAM, and the HRRR, which are the two I just showed you. So we just showed you the short range. This is the European model. All three of them tell the same story. Initial front end thump of snow, we call it, heavy snow rates for the first 3 or 4 hours of the storm. That'll take us through midnight, 1 a.m. And then you'll get this sleet, freezing rain mix stuff into all of Connecticut. I think that's what's going to happen. That it makes the most sense with this track. This isn't an ideal track. The storm's coming together late. We kind of mentioned that at the beginning, right? We have the low here is not very dynamic. So it's just not the best storm to forecast. I mean, I wish we had a good one. I wish we had a nice coastal, nor'easter that would come up here and we get good snow all the way through Connecticut. And we could just talk about that. But we're left talking about the mix. So, I promise we go and see what's going to happen after. So that's tonight's storm. Takes us into Sunday. We clear out Sunday afternoon. Monday looks good. High pressure in place, right? So you'll get sunshine on Monday. I think clear skies throughout. It'll be chilly, highs in the 30s. This is the next system that comes in Tuesday. So this is actually starting to look like a decent snow event down to the south of us. Virginia, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Delaware, who have actually seen some good snowstorms already this year. But the thing with this one is it originally looked like these two pieces of energy, this low here and this low, were going to come together better. And they were going to spread snow all throughout southern New England. But it looks like this is going to be suppressed now. So what that means is that we could get some light snow, some flurries. I could see this trending towards maybe a coating to 1 here. This model actually, this latest European, snows us completely out of the snow. This had showed like 1 to 3 inches last night. But the general trend, less amplified, south, flatter, however you want to say it, basically suppresses the snow to the mid-Atlantic, kind of leaves us snow-free here in New England for the Tuesday into Wednesday. Now, bigger storm behind it, right, for Thursday. And that looks like the one that will impact us in some capacity. Now, it's taking more of an inland track, so I'd be worried about, this is not a snow track for us, in other words. This is going to be mix and then rain. But look at the high pressure in place, right? High. It's kind of funny how many high pressures this is calling out in this model, right? But, this is a really classic cold air damming signature down here where you see all this freezing rain, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Maryland, West Virginia. I mean, absolutely ice storm stuff down there for this storm. And then that spreads into New England. So Thursday morning, I would be looking out for school impacts as we get freezing rain, probably some snow to sleet, very, less than an inch, and then freezing rain for perhaps a prolonged period. This is still, when you see this kink in the isobars, so the isobars are these lines of equal pressure on a weather map. When you see this kind of curvature like that is indicative of cold air staying at the surface. And that is something that we look at for freezing rain potential. Basically, we get a shallow layer of cold air, stays near the ground, and it just rains on top of it. And we could get a lot of ice from the system if this plays out the way that this is set up. Especially in the interior Connecticut, I would favor like I-84 corridor, points north and west. You could be talking about a 1/4 inch of ice or more if this storm stays on this track. And after that, we can go to the previous run here so you can see it goes out a little farther, the nighttime run. But ice storm, and then perhaps another wintry mix system next Saturday night. So now we're talking about, I think originally I made a post, I threw out like 4 dates. I don't remember exactly what they were, but they were like 8th, 9th, 12th, 16th, and then maybe the 19th. And then this one looks like another wintry mix system could flip back to snow, right? So it just models are just showing a mess essentially. If you want, it's like I saw one person tweet, it's how you build a glacier over New England in 10 days or something like that. But you get these like repeated mix storms, right? Snow to mix, another snow storm that gets suppressed, another mixed freezing rain event that could last a while. I'm really, I'll put out a 5-day forecast for the week with the outlook for school impacts, but I think Thursday. I mean, Thursday's looking rough right now, especially if that trend continues. And then we get, if we keep going in time here, get another storm that could be snow to mix to ice, and then it just never ends. Like so, really active pattern coming up. This is what I feel like we've been waiting for all year, at least all winter. We really haven't had much snow. We've had a lot of cold this winter. It hasn't been a very warm winter like the last few. It's been cold, but it's been snowless. We're actually well below average for snowfall in most climate sites. So, we'll see if we get anything the next 2 weeks. Climatologically, I always say February is the snowiest month. But yeah, I'll take some of your comments here. We'll see if we can show anything on the map. Let's start off with here. Donna, why are all the predictions so different? Well, I will tell you, every meteorologist, right? It's kind of an art, right? We interpret things a little bit differently than others. I think, I've been very consistent with my 3 to 6 inches of snow for the last 3 days. Not trying to toot my own horn, but just I really haven't changed the forecast much. I keep copying and pasting the same map and the same forecast essentially over and over. 3 to 6 inches of snow, followed by sleet and freezing rain, 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. Now, why others might interpret it differently. I think some of the models do trick some meteorologists into forecasting more snow. I could be wrong. I would, if we wake up tomorrow morning and there's 8 inches of snow, I will go on Facebook and I will tell everybody I was wrong. I should have forecast more snow. I don't think that's going to happen. But thank you, Greg. I really appreciate the personal psychology here. So I maybe be cautious because several weeks ago I had a 5 to 9 storm and it did 3 to 5. Well, I don't think that really factors into the forecasting much for me. I mean, the way I look at it, I like to play sports when I was a kid. Each play, right? Each play is a new play. I think each game's a new game. I think each storm in this case is a new storm. I really try not to let the other storms or other forecasts that didn't go quite the right way affect the new forecast. I think in this case, the storm, if any storm's affecting the way I forecast this for a little more conservative, was the Thursday storm because it took a very similar track and it was less snow than we thought, right? So I think it's more of a scientific analysis. Hey, the warm air moved in fast on Thursday. It's probably going to move in faster than we think again. All right. William's freaking out. I'm freaking out here. What if driving my all-wheel drive SUV at 50 miles an hour is more dangerous? This is just a funny comment. I probably should have read this whole thing, William, before I said it online. Oh, okay. Thursday. Yeah. Thursday does not look great. I will say it's probably more plain right on Long Island than it is anywhere else. Sunday morning, 8, 9, 10. I feel like it'll be okay. At the tail end of that, I would say sloppy and then improving is what I would say. So sloppy at 8 a.m., improving as the morning goes on. Let's see. I actually hear my baby that woke up. I was trying to sneak this live on before children and other family members woke up. So I will jump, but I appreciate it. Thank you so much for all the support, as always. If you have any comments, I'll try to get to them after I get him calmed down, get a bottle. But have a great morning. Enjoy the snow. Thank you again.